If you look around, it's pretty easy to see that the crazy to non-crazy ratio is pretty heavily skewed towards one direction. With a look at the numbers, it's fair to assume your perception isn't that far off either. In 2023, 45% of people claim to have some sort of mental illness. Now, that could be something as benign as anxiety or depression, or severe, like antisocial personality disorder or schizophrenia-caused psychosis, because they believe that they're John Belushi and they need to get a circuit board out of their skull because they refuse to be a robot for the NWO. Delusions and psychosis are symptoms of mental illness that cause a detachment from reality. While usually some pills, talk therapy, and worst case scenario, a few thousand volts, they don't usually clear it up, for those experiencing delusion, it's unnecessary because their reality makes perfect sense. The guy who shot John Lennon, Mark David Chapman, believed he was controlled by a tiny society of bureaucrats that lived in his head. Son of Sam David Berkowitz, who shot enough women in New York to cause them to change their hairstyles, told FBI criminal psychologists that his neighbor's dog had ordered him to kill. Which, if I'm being honest, I could see.
Oh, who's a good doggo? Who's my best doggo?
Hey, you know that guy with the cat? You should burn down his house.
Okay. Death isn't the worst outcome that can happen with psychoses and delusions. Imagine losing grip so bad that you believe everyone has turned against you, that everyone in your life is spying on you for a secret society of an occultic order, and they want to steal your blood to use for a satanic ritual.
J.G. Wentworth is right. It's my
blood,
and I need it now.
It's my
blood.
I need it now.
Capgras syndrome, or delusion of doubles, is a condition where people believe someone significant in their life has been replaced. One study on this was into a 40-year-old woman named Mary, who was convinced her 9-year-old daughter Sarah had been replaced by the Department of Family Services. Mary was so convinced that she told family members not to trust this Sarah, and even reported the little girl missing, sending pictures and a description to Sarah's school and the police. Family Services did eventually get involved when law enforcement did a welfare check after Mary had sent a used napkin to test the DNA to prove her suspicions. When the police arrived, they found the little girl sitting on the couch watching cartoons with no issue. Mary was ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment. Despite medications, therapy, and evidence to the contrary, she couldn't be swayed that her daughter had been replaced. Worried for Sarah's welfare, the courts ordered her to be placed with her grandmother, after Sarah told investigators, "I love my mommy. She's a good mommy. When she thinks I'm me." Some delusions aren't so tragic for other people, but it's a complete brain buckle for the person experiencing it, altering space and perspective for the afflicted person. Alice in Wonderland syndrome causes a person to be unable to correctly identify the size and scale of their environment. Named after the exploits of Alice from Alice in Wonderland, growing giant and shrinking from eating cakes, as she does in the story, people get confused on how to do basic activities like open a door or sit on a bench because of the wild distortions in their perception. It's another condition caused by head trauma or by excessive drug use, especially psychedelics like psilocybin, MDMA, or LSD. And speaking of drugs, while some may cause delirium or temporary delusions, others like methamphetamine or LSD can lead to severe and prolonged psychosis, especially after severe and prolonged abuse. Which, if you've ever seen a crackhead screaming at a bush missing a shoe, you'll realize it can be pretty easy to recognize. Amphetamines and schizophrenia are two of the most common sources for violent psychosis, and also common to those who suffer from Ekburn syndrome, a tactile hallucination disorder where the sufferer is convinced that their skin is crawling, or more specifically, something is crawling under their skin. This will lead to those, especially those suffering from other delusions, to self-harm and other irreversible actions in an attempt to alleviate their symptoms. The brain is freaking weird. Our entire self exists in this wad of flesh inside a decoration you would find on an edgy kid's mantle right next to the samurai swords. A bad luck roll or a smack on the head in the right way can make reality seem, well, unreal. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please remember to like, smack around that subscribe button, and click it right in the bells. And until next time, toodaloo.